He has a 1-1 count. That one's struck high. Left side. That one's going. That's out of here off the You have to be kidding me. Fireworks. Here you go.
Class 1A and 2A fans, welcome in. Cade Nissen, joined as always by Andrew Brown. And this morning, we're going to be briefly running through everything that happened last night. And there was a ton of action, some upsets, some top teams sneaking by into the next round. And I mean, it's just how Iowa high school baseball works. It seems like every single year stuff happens that Andrew and I would have never expected to happen. But no, we're just going to go sub-state by sub-state, run through some scores, talk about some big storylines. And Andrew, anything that before we get going that really caught your eye last night as you wrapped up your stream in Grimes?
Well, I mean, first off, there is some. I got to give a shout out to again our guy Tony. He said look at Earlham, and Earlham was pretty big in what they did. We'll get to that as well. I loved how they rolled. I mean, there's some teams that were Cinderellas last year that now are starting to make us wonder, are they really Cinderellas? Because they're doing the same thing again. BGM, one of those. We'll get to them here as well. But it was, there is even in our predictions a state tournament team which has bowed out. And that was a little surprising. For the most part, it's kind of gone the way we thought it would. But again, that's early. You're going to get some upsets. In terms of the 1A, 2A scene, I don't think that you can. I'm so glad that you can't bet on these, right? Because if anybody dared to do so, they would lose their money all over the place just because of how wild and crazy the postseason can get, let alone what 1A and 2A can provide you. So this is exactly what we've kind of geared up for. I mean, let's giddy up, go here. I am all for it. And I love good upsets. I love it when teams go on runs late. That's why I love the fact that everyone gets a shot in the postseason. I think it's worth it, man. Both these classes sure give us a lot, but I will say before anything else, I want to give just a shout out to all those who kind of helped us out with whether it be scores or whatnot, gave us comments and all that. I mean, everybody who was jumped along for the ride here and become a baseball fan of high school wise in Iowa. Thanks for doing that. I mean, that's really kind of cool. That's what Cade and I really, what we try and strive for. And it really makes a lot of difference here. So really appreciate that. But no, man, I liked what I saw for the most part from 1A, 2A. Again, some big upsets. And I think this is going to be another postseason that we're going to see at least maybe one, if not two teams that maybe have never graced the state tournament before.
No doubt. Well, I mean, tons of stuff. I think Tipton's probably one of my favorite stories. I mean, 6 wins.
Yeah.
6 wins to this point, and 2 of them have come in the postseason. So there's one of those Cinderellas. But yeah, I say we go sub-state by sub-state and just break it down, Andrew.
Yeah, and of course, looking at the Class 1A. We'll look at the first bracket here, and I'll see. And as we look at it here again, Akron Westfield over Harris Lake Park 7-4. We kind of knew that. Galen Catholic over Trinity Christian. Good job for Trinity Christian winning one of their first postseason matchups in over 5 years. They've the good season for them. They've done a lot there. I will say, it sets up an intriguing matchup. The 34th battle between Akron Westfield and Galen Catholic in the next round. Galen Catholic took out Akron Westfield a few years ago to advance further in the postseason. Akron Westfield could get revenge here. So just saying there's that on the horizon. Also really a 10-0 over George Little Rock, and they will meet Kingsley Pearson, who took down Marcus Merida and Claycorn 5-0 here. And that was technically an upset by the way it sits there. MMCRU hosted, and again they got blanked, and they didn't get blanked too much during the regular season. So kind of a thing. Kingsley Pearson, though, I don't think that's much of an upset in the grand scheme. So it'll be those 4 teams: AW, Galen, Altarelia, and Kingsley Pearson for the district championships in the Sub-State 1. But now we'll move over here, unless you had anything, Cade, and just kind of moving along as we take a look at Sub-State 2 and 1A. Remsen St. Mary's over New Fonda, 10-2 Woodbine with the 2-0 win over Logan Magnolia. And then this is a team that you and I kind of talked about, Cam. They had not only did they take one over on Riverside, but they kind of shocked Woodbury Central a bit. And now they're just a win away from the sub-state final game, and they will take on Coon Rapids Bayard in that. So it's Remsen St. Mary's, Woodbine, Cam, and CRB in District 2's Sub-State 2 district finals.
Yeah, that Cam game, Andrew, went 9 innings. It went 9 innings.
I know.
So I know advancing at all costs is important, but you got to throw 2 extra innings. That's 2 extra arms that have to throw those innings. I mean, it puts you at a disadvantage, but at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is you're moving on. And Cam won both matchups this year, or I mean Kuhn, I'm sorry, won both matchups this year, 6-1 and 6-5 over Cam. So 2 teams with experience with each other. But no, the Woodbury Central one, that kind of shocked me. I had fun following Woodbury Central all year, and Eric McGill was a stud for them. So they're going to be sad to see him go. He was an impact maker on all sides for him. But no, 2 intriguing ones here, and I think a lot of us predicted Kuhn and Remsen in that sub-state final. So so far the first 2 sub-states have kind of gone as we'd expected, but chaos will ensue shortly.
Yeah, well, and Cam, you talk about putting out a lot of arms. They didn't do a lot of offense in that game. Just 4 hits was all it took for them to take the win there. So
Yeah.
I think if you're going to slide by, and in this postseason, you're going to have to sometimes. That's kind of the way to do it. But moving on over to Sub-State 3 here. The top end of the bracket here, Newman Catholic and West Fork, they're on the collision course. They have now met here. Of course, West Fork did so over the GMG, one of the Cinderellas from last year. But on the bottom end here, St. Edmunds is a team that I think should be looked at a little bit here. They are a team that North Union, the hard team to blank like that. They ended up taking it 16-6. Bishop Garrigan 7-3 over West Bend Mallard. So it'll be really kind of 2 foes that have gone at it quite a bit over the last couple of years. And again, this would be the 29th matchup between these 2 squads. And Bishop Garrigan has just taken every single game almost. I mean, looking back, 7 of the last 8 have gone to the Bears. So it is what it is there, but it's a chance where we could get a potential upset here should St. Edmunds come into play. They come in with 9 wins. They could make the upset here, but again, the last time that they took over Bishop Garrigan was July 1st of 2021. So a little bit ago. But again, it's Newman Catholic and West Fork up again, and then Bishop Garrigan and St. Edmunds trying to hit up for the sub-state final in Forest City.
Well, I'll tell you, Andrew, too. I mean, if it's lining up for St. Edmunds, this is what they want. They're gonna have Derrick ready to go. They got by North Union without him. They threw him against Gladbrook Rhinebeck in that game, and then Bishop Garrigan threw mice in their game in their last game. So Garrigan's without their innings leader. St. Edmunds is coming in with their innings leader, and not only their innings leader, but one of the better pitchers in all of Class 1A. So obviously, Garrigan's 23-5, St. Edmunds 9-13. So looking at the record, you're going to say Garrigan's pretty heavily favored in that. But if you're looking at how the pitching matchups would line up, you got to give the advantage there to St. Ed's, because this is what they wanted, and this is what we kind of maybe we're curious on if it would go this way. And right now we're going to get one of the better pitchers in Class 1A against Bishop Garrigan. That'll be a fun one.
Yeah, and you know what? They will certainly need it. The last time that these two teams kind of battled it out, Derek did not go on the mound, and St. Edmunds kind of dropped that one pretty hard, 15-0. So it'll be interesting to see. Pitching can be a huge play, and you're right. We'll see how that ends up taking part. But, Derek's also the kind of guy that he's going to have to be impactful on both sides of the ball. And, he's a hits leader for a reason. I think he's going to do well. Lofsweiler, also a guy that has to come through here for St. Edmunds. I think they got it. They got a heck of a coaching staff. I think they have a big chance of going very far. So I like them. They could very well pull off the upset here, and what a Cinderella story that would be in order for them to do so. But now let's move on over. We head on to the Sub-State 4 scene in Class 1A, and you know what? It's kind of the setup that we've wanted here, right? Between Don Bosco, St. Ansgar coming on in. These two are two of the highest run averaging teams out there. St. Ansgar 9 runs a game, Don Bosco 8.7. They're matching up really well, and this could be the matchup that we've wanted here. Again, last time we got this matchup was 2014, so I guess this is kind of really a fresh new look at it all.
Yeah, and this is the one for St. Ansgar that bottom line is it's a nerve-wracking one heading into it because you're gonna have to beat a top 16 team in Class 1A, at least a top 16 team in IAbaseball's eyes, and you're gonna have to do it without Schweisau. Schweisau threw in that game against Janesville. Now, no doubt they have good 2s and 3s in Walk and Beeland, but Schweisau is by far the innings eaters, and St. Ansgar is the one with the target on their back at this point, and Don Bosco is playing a little more free. So that's gonna be a really intriguing one. If you can get by Don Bosco, you're probably gonna have Schweisau ready to roll for that sub-state final in Decorah. But no, if I'm ranking in terms of which district championship is my favorite across both classes on Saturday night, I think St. Ansgar and Don Bosco is way up on that list.
Yeah, and the thing about this is Don Bosco, they most likely will have their ace in the hole, so to speak, and Lauber. He only threw 4 2/3, so and he did so against Lake Mills. They ended up taking that one. So you think he'd be there, but it's not going to be in full force. So this is the thing where if St. Ansgar, they're a tough team. If they can jump on them early, that's a chance for them to go. I mean, of course, Don Bosco would sure like to erase the early exit they had last year, and we'll see how that ends up panning out as well. But on the other side of it, District 8, South win over Dunkerton 11-1, and Key over Turkey Valley there. Both of those games ended up, they outscored their opponents combined, 21-1, and they're on a collision course. This is kind of the matchup we wanted. I want to give a shout out to Southwind just because they lost a lot from last year, and you know what, they're in prime position to make a sub-state final because they haven't lost to Key since 2022. And it's been, right around 10 consecutive wins that they have taken over Key. It's been a big matchup. These two teams know each other very well. These are also two of the teams that don't give up very many runs, under 3 per game for both squads. So I'd say that, if we're looking at something and we're saying, you know what, this is it. I agree that this is the sub-state that I feel that has the most fireworks here coming into the district finals. 4 teams that honestly I wish would be at state. I wish all 4 of them would be at state. So I love it, Kate. I love the fact that we have it here. I wish all of them were at state, but in the end, we know we're going to get one of the best teams that has a great chance of winning it here in this sub-state.
Yeah, you make it out of this group of 4, you're well deserving of a trip to Carroll. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and hey, you know what? Other sub-states could have the same way here. Of course, as we look at sub-state 5, this is one where had a little bit of an upset here. North Tama, who won their opening round game, lost to Maquoketa Valley by 1 run. and it sets up a Wapsie Valley, Macocata Valley battle here, the Battle of the Valleys, and that goes for the District 9 champion. But on the bottom end of it, also a little bit of an upset here, and I would say, for me, I would say quite a bit. Belle Plaine over Midland, and you know what? The thing is, Harrington ended up throwing over 6 innings worth of work, striking out 10, and still they didn't get the win. He also had 2 of the 4 hits, I believe, for the squad. And in the end, Belle Plaine, man, it took extras, Cade, but they did it. And I think you got to give a kudos and a shout out to the Plainsmen. That's a performance that I hope for them continues on.
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, it ended in the next round, but I would not have pegged Belle Plaine as beating Midland, and I don't think all of us had that in our bracket picks or whatever. For those that are subscribed to Rockfin and saw that, I mean, still not late to head over and see how we thought of this, and you can check out the top 100s while you're over there. But no, that one shocked me. There's no doubt about that. But I think for the most part, other than that, East Buck, North Lane, and Wapsie Valley. Obviously, the North Tama one was a little bit of an upset, but I
Yep.
mean, when you look at it for Macocata Valley, it was a guy on our top 100 list, Mr. Bryce Vasky, throwing well for Macocata Valley that helped get them there. So it's cool seeing him 4 innings, 6 Ks, and help get the win there. But no, Macocata Valley, I think. Mini upset there to match up with a Wapsie Valley team that leads Class 1A and almost everything offensive going into the postseason.
Yeah, and man, it gotta love it. Again, this creates such an energy there. I think again, I love it. I love, and again, shout out to East Buchanan. They're doing it the right way as well. But we now move on to Substate 6. And you know what? A big shout out to obviously what's happened here. We still have a game yet to take place tonight as we sit there in that Burlington Notre Dame and New London facing off tonight on July 10th at 7. And that will look to be the last of the second round that will be going on here. Moravia, Throckmorton and company has rocked it. I mean, they have moved the way they needed to. They have blanked both teams they faced. They're into the District 11 championship game, and on the other end of it, Sigourney, the Savages, taking care of business. They defeated a Lone Tree team that took down Highland, and I thought that was quite a game there. They had 14 hits in that opening round, and then, of course, what happened? Sigourney kind of throttles them back a little bit, and they get into the District 12 championship. But I do want to say, Cade, you and I have been pretty high on BGM, and they walked in. They not only took one win against Wapello on Hillcrest Academy territory, they also took down Hillcrest Academy themselves. That was a fantastic game, and I really wish I was there in person to see that. Not an extra inning game, but I mean, holy cow! The BGM still won despite 5 runs across 3 innings for Hillcrest. And the Ravens, I thought were on the destined path to make it deeper. And in fact, I had them pegged to be in this matchup. But man, I thought they may end up taking it. But BGM, again, I had pegged going a long way, and I think that they can still do it here. That was a heck of a game.
Yeah, 18-7 is no slouch, and they've played 2 games in this postseason. They've both been very tight, competitive games. So they're gonna have that experience headed into a game with Sigourney, who's obviously a top 10 team. But man, Burlington Notre Dame, as if this district and substate couldn't get any harder. First off, they draw two other ranked teams in their substate, and now they got to wait another day because of rain. I believe that game's like 1-1 in the second inning or something, where it got delayed, but you're all of a sudden getting pushed back on pitching, and some people might be like, oh, why does that matter? Well, I mean, the pitch count is what's based off, how long guys have to sit, and you can kind of map it out a
Yep.
little bit when you got days in between your games. But now Burlington Notre Dame, they lose a day in between their next game, so I mean, it's by no means an excuse. Baseball, it's what happens. It's kind of just how the cookie crumbles. But Burlington Notre Dame, I mean, they get thrown in a tough sub-state, and now they're having to wait a day to play their district semifinal. But no, I mean that Moravia matchup could be an intriguing one. Moravia did throw Throckmorton against Keota, so it'd probably be Carson Seals on Saturday night. But nevertheless, that's a tough matchup, and assuming Burlington Notre Dame can sneak by New London, that's another really good one to keep our eye on.
And you're gonna have to be wary. I mean, this Throckmorton-led team, averaging nearly 10 runs a game. They've done that within the last 5. They've had really close games against Pella, Ankeny Christian. I mean, they've been working it, and so I think that's one to really well keep your eye on, because it's gonna be a fun one at that for sure. But now we move on over to Substate 7 as we get rocking and rolling along. And as we take a look at the top of the bracket here, we had Linville Sully doing their thing, right? I mean, they end up in the District 13 championship game. And then we have kind of a little upset run here, not quite as huge, but North Mahaska did take a win over Twin Cedars in a big victory there, and they end up matching up again. That was in the end, that was the 15th matchup between the two squads, and Twin Cedars had taken 2 out of the last 3, and North Mahaska ends up taking the win here. They meet Linville Sully in the District 13 championship. And then on the other end of it, this is where it kind of gets really crazy. Of course, you have Ankeny Christian. They are in the District 14 title game, but not against the team that I think either you or I had pegged, and that is Earlham. I mean, Earlham on a last minute play, the final play of the game, ends up getting the tag, getting the out, securing the win over Grandview Christian in an upset. And this was something significant here. In the end, just 3 runs for Grandview Christian overall. And it was 7 hits. 5 of them were singles here for Earlham, and that's what ended up winning it for the Cardinals. So, again, kudos to them. And I think we should all start taking a look a little bit more at what Earlham has here and what they got going on.
Yeah, and Earlham did it without their ace. And
Yeah.
so when you're looking at things, Ankeny Christian, they threw Eli Christensen to get by Madrid. Earlham, they threw their ace in their first round game. They snuck by Grandview Christian with their number 2 guy. So now you're looking at Earlham with Ryan Stiles ready to go against Ankeny Christian. Another lower seed with a pitching matchup that they'd probably favor. Intriguing matchup here, Andrew.
Yeah, and no doubt about that. And of course, with Ankeny Christian, I do like where they're looking at here. I like them. I mean, really match for match. These have 2 of the best offensive guys. Ryan Stiles, Eli Christensen, both are hit machines right now. But it'll be interesting to see how this ends up playing out. Really love where both of them are headed. I mean, under 6 runs allowed a game. This could be a defensive or an offensive battle for sure. But now, as we move on from Substate 7, we go ahead to Substate 8. And now we take a look at this one here. And, I don't know about you here, but, we look at Tri-Center. They get in there easily. Lennox is a team that I think nobody is necessarily, or not a lot of people, I should say, are surprised at 20-7 to be in the District 15 championship. I will say that they have been on a tear. It's hard to blank St. Albert just because of the schedule that they play, the battle tested that they are, and Lennox blanked them. And they end up in the District 15 championship. But I would say perhaps one of the biggest upsets has come from Bedford, as Bedford takes down what was my pick to be into the state tournament anyway, in Martinsdale St. Mary's. And Bedford takes them down after taking down Mount Ayr 6-3. They win yesterday 4-3, and they will take on another upset here in Southwest Valley, who just took down East Union, who was the host site. Man, they were one of the top teams coming into it. Southwest Valley took them down 10-1. So I don't know what to think here, Cade, with this, because looking at this matchup, I mean, these two teams have seen each other quite a bit, over 30 matchups here since the 08-09 campaign. But this is by far, I think, not the matchup that any one of us nor the ranker pegged.
No, the bottom of that bracket really got flipped upside down, but you got to shout out Isaac Curran from Southwest Valley. He's their ace all year, their innings leader. He goes against the East Union and he gives them 7 innings, strikes out 10, and only allows 1 earned. He allowed 8 hits, so I'm sure he was dodging trouble on the base paths, but he found a way to get out of it. And no, that's a really impressive win. And I think both those games on that bottom side in District 16 did not go the way we thought. And so now we've got two teams, 2 wins away from a state title. We're gonna have someone in that sub-state final that we didn't think was gonna be there, which is super cool to see.
And you know what the funny part is that, gosh, in the Martinsdale Bedford game, the Martinsdale St. Mary's, the Blue Devils put up 10 hits in that, and they still did. I mean, that include 4 doubles, and Bedford still comes out with the win here. Very impressive overall to see that one. Again, I love what they did, and again, Bedford putting things over. I mean, 18 wins, not a bad mark. So they will go ahead and fight for Southwest Valley for the right to go to the sub-state final. Now let's move on over, Kay. Let's take a little shift and move ourselves to Class 2A a little bit as we take a look at what's happened there so far. And we take a look at Sub-State 1. And I'm just going to say it right now. The teams we thought would be there are the teams that are there, right? We have ELC Spirit Lake for the District 1 title, West Lyon Unity Christian for the District 2 title. All those teams had some really close games. In the end, that it is kind of where it is. I will give a shout out there. I mean, it's all these teams. Spirit Lake has been on a tear here, 10-3 over a strong Emmitsburg team. Nothing to look or nothing to laugh at for sure. Very good outing for them, and of course the collision course that I just wanted to ask you here, quick, Cade. Between ELC Spirit Lake, West Lyon Unity Christian, all these teams will provide fireworks. I just don't know which one will provide the most.
Yeah, and it's tough to see because the pitching, some of the stats aren't in for some of these games, and that's what I'm kind of looking at right now as you're talking. Is I'm trying to sift through it and see who I think is going to throw, and not sure. But no, these all these teams just found ways to win, and I know Estra Lincoln Central had a walk. West Lyon went 8 innings. Unity Christian snuck by Cherokee Wash. I don't know, picking one team. I know in my bracket, on Rockfin that we went through. I mean, I picked Unity Christian, but also West Lyon beat them 14-4 this year. So in the one matchup they had, so it's going to be intriguing. 2 good matchups. I think ELC still has the pitching with Crease and Larson that can shut down a team, and obviously they did it, winning 1-0, which is crucial. But these are two really good district finals that I'm going to be keeping my eye on.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the end, Spirit Lake win would be really big. They haven't won against ELC since 2018. And in the end, there's been a lot of blanks that ELC has given Spirit Lake over the course of the last, 3, 4, 5 years. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Unity Christian and West Lyon also, that's going to be a fun one to watch out for too. But now we move on over to Sub-State 2 here. And man, this one to me here, interesting look. I mean, Hoof is big for me. You do get West Marshall and you get Applington Parksburg. They're battling out in the District 3 title game. There was some fireworks that also went through here. Clearing Goldfield Dows, they were the team that I thought had the chance to go a little bit farther. They end up losing to Roland Story, Dike New Hartford over Iowa Falls Alden. So it's Roland Story, Dike New Hartford in the District 4 championship there. And again, West Marshall, Applington, Parkersburg. This is fun. This is kind of what you want here. I know Grundy Center, They end up not going as far as certainly we would have wanted them to. They're a strong team. Had a big, had a big moment here at the end of the regular season in which we posted that up. Someone with their second at bat of the year knocking it over knocking it over the fence. Really good story there. You can catch up on. But right now, as we look at, I mean, I think for the most part, we're getting the teams that we know will end up. And I will say that coming out of this one, Kate, I feel like we're going to have a really strong state tournament team here, whoever comes out of this.
Yeah, well, first off, on the top half, we almost had something insane happen last night. I mean, West Marshall, the wins leader, and in Class 2A, the number one team, that they got taken to the taken to the edge last night against Hudson. It took 8 innings. It took a walk off.
Yeah.
It took Seegert throwing his best game, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, and 9 Ks for the senior. They're gonna have Shaver and the Desitels ready for Applington Parkersburg, of course. But you gotta shout out Hudson, a team that no one was talking about really probably having a shot in this game. As Andrew, I see, has dipped out. There he is. He's joining back. Andrew's back. No,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
worries.
Love it when technology works out the right way, don't it? I
I,
mean,
I was just talking, but no, I mean, what West Marshall? I mean, you gotta give props to Hudson for taking them to the edge like that. That's you were causing some heart attacks over in West Marshall for those fans watching that game. But then on the
yeah.
bottom, I gotta say, you got a really good pitching matchup that looks like it's gonna be lining up with Cale Faber of Roland Story and Carson Costello
Yeah.
of Dyke New Hartford. Both those teams look like, I think if I'm doing the math right, look like they got their aces ready, and that's always fun to see. Two teams right around the 500 mark with their best guys ready to go.
Yeah, and in the end, we could get a whole lot. These two teams have nearly identical hit marks coming in. 202 for Roland Story, 201 for Dyke New Hartford. That is, I mean, they're right in line. This is two equally powered teams. Gotta love what we're looking at here for this. But again, Sub-State 2, whoever comes out of that, they're going to be dogs. I tell you what, it's going to be a hard one to get there. Hard one to do. But anyway, moving on, we go ahead and man, what a battle this was here at the top end of the bracket. New Hampton, easy winners over Gardner, Hayfield, Ventura. They go to the District 5 title game. Osage go in there as well, and they get the chance to do so. A big win over Forest City in that one. Max Gass goes 6 2/3, strikes out 11. The one thing that now you kind of worry about here is you go up against the Chickasaw offense that, I mean, it's a strong offense. Ultimately, Osage also 8.5 runs per game for them, and they've also had a win over Forest City. But is that enough? I don't know. In the end, Osage, New Hampton, certainly a game you gotta circle on your map there. That's going to be a fun one. But Kate, I want to ask you were you as surprised as I was at the bottom end of this bracket here, where you had Walk-On and Denver roll through? I mean, they rolled through, and they absolutely, they were astounding. And they're a Walsh-Schmidt. That Walsh-Schmidt's gone, right? They're hits leader, double leader, career program leader in hits and doubles gone. And yet here you have Walk-On still rocking it. They have not allowed a single run so far this postseason. They have outscored opponents, including Starmont. And now you're sitting there, well, they're one win away from the sub-state final. They take on a Denver team who comes in at 6-19. They bested MFL Marmac here by 1 run. And yes, it was 1 run. It still counts as the win. It didn't have to go into extras, but even with 2-run 5th inning for MFL Marmac, it really highlights that if you do some good stuff early on in the game, that's 4 innings, or which all 3 of the runs for Denver came in. That's how you do it. 4 hits, all that they need, and defense in that one. So I don't know. Were you as surprised as I was to see two of the top members of that bracket go down?
Yeah, it was shocking, but Colton O'Neill for Walk-On has proved to be a really, really solid guy. Another member of our top 100 list. And That's what happens. These teams that maybe are sub 500 or undervalued, they get the guy they want throwing against a good team, and chaos ensues. And Denver, I know we have 2 6-win teams that I know of off the top of my head playing for district championships this Saturday night. But yeah, if you got a first round bye in this sub-state, you were 1-3, which is pretty incredible. So I don't know what all goes into that. Maybe Denver walk on Osage had that experience in the postseason, obviously playing in the play-in game, so that could be part of it too. You're not going in cold, you know what to expect. But I mean, this bracket is lining up pretty well for New Hampton. I gotta say, they had the courtesy of getting out early against Garner Hayfield Ventura. They're able to save Cale Myers. They're able to save Braden McShane under the pitch count. So they're both going to be ready for Saturday night against Osage. Osage through Max Gas to get by Forest City, so they're without their ace. So I'm looking at this, and New Hampton, I'm liking their draw more and more. They're playing this chess game just about as perfect as you can to this point.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty exceptional the way they did, the way that they end up needing to do it. I mean, kudos. What you do, what you need to do, right? You get there, and however it happens, it happens. But now I want to move on over as we take a look at Sub-State 4 here, and a battle here as we look at the battle between we had Beckman Catholic, Monticello. Beckman Catholic wins 8-2. They continue to roll on. Regina Catholic, who I thought was destined to go a little bit further, Cascade ends up toppling them using 3 pitchers to do so. Nobody went over 60 pitches. They only gave up 5 hits, and they end up taking this one 6-4. And now they head in. They take on a Beckman squad here, and 2 very storied programs in the state of Iowa. Cascade keeping it rolling there. They sit in the District 7 championship game here. And then, of course, we've had a little postponement here. Northeast Wilton, they go ahead today as they will battle here for the right to face the District 8 champion, and in a champion against Tipton. First off, Tipton, they took down a Marquette Catholic squad, again, that has had a lot of great guys in there. Goner as well. Taking a look at what Marquette Catholic has had, Boniface, all those guys that we have already mentioned, big time guys, and they still, Tipton ends up winning that one 7-2, and then they go up and they somehow add on to that. I mean, now the 12-7 win over Durant. And Durant was heading into that one pretty well. They had already beaten Marquette Catholic. So here you go. What's happening to Tipton? I don't know. 6-19-1 entering this game. But, man, did they put out a lot of good things. Not a lot of stats officially recorded there. But the fact of the matter is a 7-run 5th inning was what ended up doing that. That, I don't care who you are, you're not going to get out of it very much or at all if you give up 7 runs, a crooked number in an inning. I don't know what happened with Tipton, man, but they put the coals on there, and I think in the end here, Cade, you have to give credit to them. They've had a tough schedule, they've had a tough year. In the end, they make it happen, and so I'm not quite sure who ended up pitching for them, if it was Camberling or maybe Cullender as well. I mean, both sophomores probably would have gotten the nod for that game either way. But I believe it might have been Cullender to have that one. In the end, they did what they needed to do. They gave up a lot, but they scored more. And I don't know. I think this may be one of the biggest upsets so far.
Yeah, I think Camberling threw in their first game. He struck out 14 in that first game against Marquette Catholic. He also threw 108 pitches. So I don't know off the top of my head where that lines him up for Saturday, but no, I mean what a run for Tipton. I mean it's incredible. But I think the story of this sub-state came from that Cascade Regina game. I don't know if you saw that tweet, Andrew, because you were streaming, but KJ Pilcher tweeted out Tanner Topping, the freshman, was the one to secure the RBI in that extra innings that started off. The run for Cascade. He didn't have an official at bat all season. Just incredible stuff. Talking about staying ready at all times. He doesn't have an official AB all year. Comes in the eighth inning of the postseason, gets a single, drives in the run. They end up scoring two more. They win at 6-3. So really, really cool stuff there from the freshman who, obviously coach trusted to come in and pinch hit, and he delivered. So really cool stuff. And Cascade, a team that's been there, done that in terms of postseason, success. Maybe not having the year they were wanting, but here they are, 2 games away, and they're going to be going back to
Yep.
Carroll yet again. It feels like for another time. They've been there a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. And again, it's something else. I love that. Again, that's a really cool stat there, really cool mark to note here. And again, so as it states, as it looks now, Beckman Catholic, Cascade, District 7 title, Tipton awaiting the winner of Northeast and Wilton. Wilton over Comanche 6-3 in the opener there. So now we move on here from Sub-State 4. Let's go ahead, take a look at the Sub-State 5 mark here, Cade. And for me, I loved all these teams that have done really well. Sumner Fredericksburg, kind of the team that I pegged to be there right now, facing Alburnett. Not necessarily surprised there, although shout out to Jessup for going as deep as they could with them. Anamosa, they take care. They've only given up 2 runs so far through the postseason, and meanwhile, they have scored 18 runs themselves. They will face off against Mediapolis. And Mediapolis, they take down a big Mid Prairie team, and they didn't allow a single run for Mid Prairie until the 7th inning. And in the end, don't really have the stats in for that game here, but Mediapolis has taken both games since the 08-09 season right now, right? They won in 2016. They've won it here. Mediapolis has Mid Prairie's number, albeit in a small sample size, but they end up taking the win there. And, now it sets them up against Anamosa. And, you kind of wonder there. In the end, Mediapolis did have to put through quite the effort here in the first game. They threw some of their top guns in London's and Griffin. Again, London's went to 5 1/3 innings worth of work here, and that's where we sit right now. Just kind of checking the stats myself here, but in the end, the strikeout leader, Crow, still sitting there, or excuse me, London's the strikeout leader, but Crow sitting there, 50 strikeouts coming in. Griffin also at 40 strikeouts. So I think this is not a matchup that should be taken lightly here, Cade, because you got 2 guys that can that are ready to go. You end up, I'm not quite sure who they'll end up throwing there. Not their ace by my account here, but they have enough depth behind them there. I think that Anamosa is an offensive juggernaut at this point. They're showing it. But again, this will be intriguing because I think whoever comes out of this may not necessarily be the highest, maybe the highest ranked seed in the state tournament, but they'll be one of the more dangerous.
Yeah, Animosa's they've got their pitching lined up and ready to go. They're gonna have Selnow and Vince Deers ready for Meepo, which should be a really good game. Meepo was a 19-win team having to play in that play-in game, and you had 2 ranked teams in our poll playing in those playing games in Jessup and Meepo. So shows the depth of this sub-state, and obviously a lot of really good games. Sumner Fredericksburg has just been a sneaky, consistent team all year. They get a good test in Alburnett. Again, like you said, not a lot of pitching stats in this morning quite yet for us, but 2 good games should be lined up and ready to go Saturday night.
Yeah, gotta love it here. And again, whoever comes out of that one, I think has a good shot. Speaking of having a good shot, the matchup that we wanted, Des Moines Christian, Pella Christian, coming on up in the District 11 title game on the 13th. That'll be a fun one to watch. Hopefully we get the chance to head on over there. But on the other end of it, you have Interstate 35, Pleasantville. They're going to battle it out here. And, man, these 2 teams have been pretty even for the most part. Pleasantville leading the all-time series at 18 wins to 14 wins. But both teams split in their season series in 2024. And so it really could go either way here. In the end, Interstate 35 got by Cardinal 8-1. I thought that, they put up a really strong effort there. In the end, they put, I believe it was Dixon. I believe he had 8 strikeouts in that mark there. He was the one that kind of went the distance for them in the end there. And by all accounts, a good mark for an overall good mark for them. He ends up, he's right now, I believe he's the strikeout leader for them, 80 strikeouts. Not sure how far, where they'll go with next. I believe Brock Stevens is going to be the guy that they kind of rely on coming up next here. Then again, they could go anywhere else on that. They have some depth in that pitching rotation. I think they have a lot that they can do with that. Pleasantville, man, this is a team that you've been high on, and you've kind of got me convinced. Not kind of, you have gotten me convinced. The last time they did face off, Pleasantville did take the win, and these are about as even teams as you can get here, Kate. They both are averaging just under 4 runs a game. In fact, both at 3.8 per game on average is what their mark is right now. I will say that I-35 coming on a little bit low in terms of their last 5. I mean, they're 2-3 in their last 5. So they've still got a ways to go here. But they did take down the Good Bedford team, and we just talked about them. So in the end, I think Pleasantville has a lot going on. I mean, we'll see if Braden Kennedy ends up going there. I mean, we talked about Chase Dixon maybe not matching up, but I think we're still going to get some good offensive play here.
Yeah, Kennedy threw against a Central Lee team that's really good. I think
Yep.
Central Lee, you can't spite them. That's a good squad with Blake Davis and company. But no, it's a situation where we've got the district finals, I should say, that we were kind of expecting. All 4 of these teams threw their aces or their innings leaders, whatever you want to call it. I mean, teams might not peg them as their ace, but all 4 of these teams threw their top guy last night. So now we're looking at a situation where we're going to be testing your depth in this district final game. Who's your number 2? Can you go out and win with him against a really good team? Two really fun matchups. That I-35 Pleasantville game, that could be fireworks down there in Truro, Iowa.
Oh my gosh! And you know what? You got the chance to see him here, and I am jealous of that here, Cade, because I like what they're bringing to the table. This team is fun. They're scrappy. They find ways to win. And again, I'll be honest. Again, I'm jealous. I wish I could have seen them in person myself. They are a fun team, and I hope that they get to move as far as possible. And again, we'll see how that ends up working out for them. But now we move on over here to the Substate 7 field, and the top end of it, Van Meter over Woodward Granger. That was 11-1. Certainly, Van Meter on a roll here as well. In the end, Van Meter's going up against Sheraton. Sheraton over the Bulldogs of Ogden 4-1. And again, didn't really have any stats there for that. Although I think with Sheraton, if there's a worry about the depth, I mean, they have 2 guys in Jansen and Gregson at the top of that lineup that are very capable of battling it out against a Van Meter squad. The only thing though, when you take a look at Van Meter, this is a kind of an equal matchup no matter how you dish it out. Both teams averaging right around 3 runs given up per game and right around 8 runs scored per game. And they've done so pretty much as equally as you can get it. The thing that I will go ahead and say is that right now, Van Meter, they are a team that's going to be tough, man. They are one of the class leaders in extra base hits, and that includes doubles. 58 doubles on the season. They have been rocking it right now. Austin Baumover is arguably he's going to be in top for, if you take a look at who your Mr. Best Baseball, whatever that might be, in 2A, he could very well earn that. 52 hits for him on the season. He's been absolutely rocking it. Cole Moore has been rocking it as well. And so we'll see what ends up happening here. Again, getting by, I want to say Woodward Granger was not a game in which it was a lot closer than it really seemed. It just kind of got away from Woodward Granger. But the thing about this, what I like here is that they didn't have to put out their main ace in Cole Moore. So Cole Moore, very available to take on Sheraton in the District 13 title game against Sheraton. On the other end of it, the younger DeJean and OABCIG, they move on to the District 14 title game. And you know what? It's against a team that we also thought had a good chance to make it as well. Kemper Catholic will face them in a very intriguing matchup here, Cade. I like what we see from this matchup. Hasn't happened very much in the past, but when it has, it's been all Kemper Catholic. They've owned the last 3 matchups that have taken place since the 08-09 season. Not a lot to work off of. Last time they did face, it was 2022. But I think these two teams are vastly different from where they were in 2022. So in the end, I kind of like it. I like DeJean. I like Lujano. I like where their hits are headed. I like where their offense is headed. And I think we could see some fireworks in this one as well.
Yeah, 2 teams right around my neck of the woods, so find myself more
Yeah.
familiar with those guys. But OABCAG, I mean, talk about heart attack city. Looking at their box score, they go 5 runs in the bottom of the 6th, 5 runs in the bottom of the 6th, 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th, to rally and beat Southeast Valley in a game where they were down 5-2 with just 6 outs remaining. I believe Jackson Jean went like 3 for 5. Like I got it right here. 3 for 4, 2 doubles, 5 RBI for Jackson Jean, who was very high up on our list of 2A freshmen, so on our top 100. But Kemper Catholic, they get by Pokey. They didn't have to throw Neural. They're gonna have their guy they really like, I believe, ready to go for OABCAG. 2 teams, from West Central Iowa, battling, and then that top matchup's intriguing too. Van Meter, Sheraton. Van Meter obviously got the pleasure of kind of cruising through Woodward Granger. Save your pitching, and they're gonna get to throw whoever they want basically against the Chargers offense that has shown flashes that could be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I do like the matchup there. Of course, Van Meter, they're angry at this point, and they're angry because they were close to this point last year, and they ended up not being able to go the distance here. They end up again falling a little bit early, so we'll see where that ends up. So, but now we move on over to Substate 8, and a team in Underwood. They had a little bit of a time against Hinton there, 6-1. They end up taking the win there. Ridgeview takes down Trainer in a big win there. And again, they needed it. They needed what they could. Their top strikeout leader here was Myrtle. He ended up the sophomore with just 3 strikeouts. That's what was needed here. In the end, they put up 9 hits, pushed across those 4 runs. They only had 2 extra base hits all game. So it was a lot of station to station baseball. They only had 1 walk. So man, this was a lot of hit them where they ain't, and this was a lot of you kind of station to station baseball your way it to the win, and they did. They picked up the 4-1 win or 4-2 win, and they will again face Underwood in the District 15 matchup here. These 2 teams have not faced off historically, at least dating back to Bounds 08-09 season, last time they recorded wins and stats. The Hawkeye 10 conference leader, Clarinda, makes it easy into the District 16 championship. And then Shenandoah, they get the win over Missouri Valley, and they battle it out there. And again, I think this is a matchup where we're going to see in Clarinda and Shenandoah. I think this could mean a lot. I mean, in the end, we've seen what Tuzio can do. We've seen what Baumgart can do. Tuzio he did go, I believe, 6 innings against West Central Valley, so I don't think they'll have him necessarily for this, but I think they have enough depth. In the end, Shenandoah, they're proving they are where they belong as well, as they sit in this District 16 championship as well.
Yeah, 2 top seeds here in Clarinda and Underwood, both threw their aces in their first round game. Louette struck out 11 Hinton batters, so they're going to have to find ways to win their district championship without their ace. Obviously, they kind of lined that up how they wanted, but if both of them can do that, Andrew, we're gonna get Creighton Tuzio and Garrett Louette in a sub-state final, and if that doesn't get you excited for some Iowa high school baseball in Glenwood, I don't know what will, because that would be an incredible pitching matchup if the stars do happen to align. But no, this one's kind of shaken out. Ridgeview with a mini upset over Trainer. That one's kind of significant to that point because Trainer had a really good year. But Shenandoah and Clarenda's kind of owned that matchup this year, beating them twice, but never easy to beat a good team 3 times. And Clarenda's gonna have to go out and do that on Saturday night.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, hey, we've gone through it. We've gone through 1A, 2A. What a bracket it was. What a postseason it has been so far. Thanks for tuning in. Let us know in the comments here what you think, where we were off, where you liked it. Give us your thoughts, and as always, hit us up wherever you can. Catch us up on Rockfin for the top 100 and beyond, of course, and also catch up on how we did just throughout the regular season and beyond. So continue to become an Iowa high school baseball fan. Cade, it's been great. Love to do this. Can't wait to when we start the 3A, 4A postseason. That'll be a fun one.
Absolutely. I'm gonna be headed to Fargo to cover some wrestling for Tony, but don't you worry, guys. I'll find my hours here and there to hop on with Andrew, and we'll be breaking stuff down all weekend long. It's a massive weekend. This is make or break it weekend. You get through this weekend, and you're one game away from the state tournament, so it's pretty special time of year. But no, it was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed. And we'll probably catch you Saturday morning or something for some breakdowns on Friday. Well, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll see you guys.